¿Qué onda, mi gente? I am seriously fed up with hearing, oh, this influencer said this, so it has to be right. I'm so sick and tired of hearing, well, I saw this on YouTube and this is exactly what I want, or this is exactly what I should do because this influencer said that that's what I should be doing. On today's Innovative Insight, it's all about idolizing influencers, why you should and why you shouldn't. So keep watching to find out. It seems that idolizing influencers has become such a norm in our society. It's like we can't make a decision without figuring out or trying to find out what an influencer said regarding the decision that we're about to make. So one of my favorite things to do while I'm driving is catch up on all my podcasts. So last week, I was listening to a particular podcast that I really enjoy. And I was listening to this amazing guest. I was so excited because she happened to be one of my favorite influencers on another one of my favorite influencers podcasts. So I'm like, wow, I'm getting 2 for 1 today. This has to be good. And it was all about success and setting yourself up for success and, what she's done to accomplish success for herself. So I said to myself, this is definitely good. I've got to listen. So as I'm listening to there, like I said, I'm always in search of good listening. So if you listen to podcasts, make sure to comment right now and drop in the comments your favorite podcast and why you listen to it, because I'm always in search of something new to listen to while I'm driving. It's my favorite pastime while I drive. So again, I got really into this podcast and I'm listening to this influencer being interviewed, and she's talking about, her successes and, all those steps that she's creating, those little micro steps that she's made to get her to where she is now. And so I'm really tuning in and paying attention. And then she starts talking about a couple of things that just didn't sit well in my spirit. Mind you, this is someone who I really look up to. This is someone who I've been following because, she's someone who I would like to become like, right? So again, I'm listening to the interview, and then all of a sudden she said something out of the blue while she's talking about what she does that just didn't sit right in my spirit. And that's when I knew right then and there that I need to stop idolizing influencers. And I think that it's such a big deal in our society that we need to stop idolizing influencers as a society. I think it's something that we tend to put them up on a pedestal, and they're not. They're just normal people like you and I. Here's exactly what she said that kind of triggered this fight, mechanism inside of me that said she is not in alignment with my personal core values. So I'm listening to her and she's talking about how she has to have constant engagement with life. She needs to pretty much always be self-validated or always in search of that next piece of nugget that's going to enlighten her. So she's on a constant journey to find the next life coach, the next therapist, hypnotherapist, intuitive coach, in testing anything that they tell her, anything that just gives her a nugget of inspiration and insight to what she's doing and to see if she's on the right path. She's even gone as far as, using tarot readings and psychics to really enlighten her and help her find something interesting about her. Here's pretty much the problem. The problem with that is that she's constantly chasing this high rather than self-actualizing her purpose inside of her. At this point, I understood that it's okay to look up to an influencer, but it's not okay to idolize them. So when you look up to someone, You want to model yourself after their behaviors so that you can learn from them, so that you can pick up these behavioral traits and apply them to your own life so that you can pretty much level yourself up, right? Well, when I was in grad school, I did a study on social cognitive theory by Albert Bandura. In his theory, he states that, we learn based on our experiences and the behavioral traits that we observe. So if I follow an influencer who has a certain behavior, then I will also learn it too through observation. So that's basically what social cognitive theory is all about. But idolizing influencers may be detrimental to both your personal and business growth if the behaviors that you're observing are not aligned with your core value. I realized she's not living with purpose. She's living for a moment, a thrill, right? So how can you run your business chasing one thrill after the next? It's no wonder why she's on this constant struggle with burning out and having to find that fulfillment in life is because she hasn't identified her purpose in life. Isn't that funny? Here I thought that she had it all. Here I thought that she had it all figured out, for that matter. And when I heard that, it just didn't resonate with my core values. See, it's okay to look up to other people. My pastor, as well as Gary Vee and a ton of other influencers, always say that you are a product of the 5 people that you hang out with, right? So if you hang out with specific people, then, you're going to learn those behaviors through observing them all the time. So I remember when I was a kid, my mom would always tell me, that I shouldn't hang out with so-and-so because she was going to rub off on me, right? And it is so true. Like, now that I'm older, I can't believe that I'm actually understanding what that really and truly means. Because when you apply social cognitive theory to this particular situation, then I would be a product of the people that I hang out around with. Then the behaviors that they have are behaviors that I have. The traits that I see in them that I've learned through observance of their traits. I now inherit those traits because it's through observing that I inherit them. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, so why would you want to hang out with someone who doesn't embody the same core values as you do? Because it's really important to make sure that the people that you hang out with, they're all aligned with your core values. Earlier this year, I read the book Soar by T.D. Jakes, and there's one quote in there that really has stuck with me since the beginning of the year. I read this book in January, and it is now August, and this quote right here, specifically from his book, has really made a difference in my life right now. It says, "You cannot soar with the eagles if you keep hanging around with the turkeys." And I realized that's exactly what I shouldn't be doing. So that also means that you need to be careful with who you admire, who you look up to, because many of you are on an entrepreneurial journey because you have a purpose, this grand purpose that has been kind of like sitting inside of you, that you need to be doing this with your life, right? So it's very important that you're very careful with who you follow and who you admire and who you look up to. The product, the service, or yourself is a byproduct of the purpose that should be the reason why you do the things that you do, should be the reason why you're hustling so hard. So your product, your service, or yourself should not be in constant search of the next enlightenment as the source of a purpose, of its purpose. Then that means that you have no purpose whatsoever. So here's 3 tips to add value to your life through influencers and those you look up to. Tip number 1, make sure that the influencer or the person that you looked up to or that person that you admire, their core values are in alignment with yours. For example, my values are integrity, faith, creativity, and authenticity. I always have to be authentic to myself. I always have to be, creative. I believe that creativity is important for, to be authentic, And also, when it comes down to faith is truly important to me. So when I was listening to what that influencer was talking about and how she's on this constant journey to find the next tarot reading card and what it's going to say, and the next, anything that she was doing, it didn't sit right in my spirit. It doesn't mean it's wrong. That doesn't mean that what she's doing is wrong. And by no means am I saying this on YouTube that, it happens to be wrong. No, what I'm saying is it's not aligned with my personal core values. So that's why it's very important to make sure that the people that we look up to and that we admire share those similar core values that we have ourselves. Tip number 2, your passion and your daily actions equal your purpose. So find what's really inside of here and do it every day. Don't emulate your purpose with the purpose of others. So make sure that the reason why you're doing things is because someone else is also doing it. That's not a purpose, okay guys? It's what's really down and dirty deep inside here. That should be what's driving your driving force, what's driving you to the next level. And you should be doing it every single day, and that should equal your purpose in life. Also, find what you're truly passionate about. I'm really big on finding what you're really passionate about and putting it into action every single day. Do what you love, because life is short and you only have one life to live. Tip number 3, make sure that you do not attach the value or the worth of a cause to the individual that you esteem. And that's it, guys. I leave you with this. Be the best that you can be. Always stay true to your purpose. It's okay to look up to others because, we learn from others, right? But what I really want you to take home with, and remember, the keys to success are only yours if your sole focus is on your purpose and not on alignment. And finally, I wanted to share a verse that really stood out to me this week after I listened to this podcast, and I've been ranting about how it just didn't sit good in my spirit, and then this verse really jumped out at me and really kind of set everything back in alignment. We are God's workmanship, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared us in advance for us to do so. Ephesians 2:10. All right, and that is it, mi gente. I will see you next Thursday when I bring you more innovative insight. Make sure that you subscribe and that you hit the alert button, because you want to make sure that you get the notifications, because next week starts the Instagram for Business series, and you're not going to want to miss this one, because it's really going to help you accelerate your growth, your influence, and your visibility on Instagram. As always, see you next week, and make sure that you subscribe.